Elaine. I I started with FLL in 2008 when I moved to Alaska with my family. And, we didn't know anybody. We just didn't know anything. We walked into the school and there was a pamphlet on the front desk that says, "Are you interested in robotics?" And it was a Girl Scout team. And so my oldest, who is now 25 years old and is a chemist that works for the state of Alaska, um, was very interested in this. And so that's kind of how it started, a little bit like probably some of you guys, very, very accidental. And then my two other children sort of followed suit, but I went from the parent in the audience with my, how old was he at the time? 4 years old in my lap. And then I started co-coaching, and then I was coaching, and it was a teacher like you who said to me, "I'll do it if you do it." And I said, "I'll do it if you do it." And so there we go. We were paired up, a teacher and a parent, and off we went. And I like to sort of frame the program as explaining how this program has to be extremely scalable and meet the needs of a broad range of teams, from all the way from, teams that are starting from scratch, all the way to, other than in the US and Canada, students can be as old as 16 years old doing FLL. And in countries that do this very, very seriously, Brazil, Spain, Germany, very, very serious with their FLL. And so when you look at the program, it's important to remember that that first, from a corporate perspective, is trying to meet the needs of many, many, many teams, many knowledge levels. And that when you start, this is not a program that when you start in 1 year, you will get this whole thing figured out. You won't. And you won't, partly because it's designed that way, so that there is always something for the students, new challenges for the students to take on as the years go on, even within FLL. And then, of course, they can, if they so choose, right, go into middle school and high school into other programs, so that they can do like my own children who did it all the way through high school. And so when you start out, it was for me very overwhelming. And at the time, there was very little information on the internet. There was very little interaction. We had to figure out a lot of this stuff on our own. And now it's sort of gone the other way, where there's so much information that it's almost, that in and of itself is overwhelming, and that I don't know where to start. Because there's just so much information. So what I want to sort of try to do today is frame the program, answer some of your questions, and give you some of the local resources that we could utilize just to get you going on your first year. Set the expectation, and just know that once this gets going, it's almost self-propelling with the kids, right? Because you will learn how to push this all on the students to let them develop their skills. And once they develop their skills, and you have a couple of years into this, the older students with the more experience will train the younger student. And then it's just, you just have a glass of lemonade in the back of the room and it will all run itself. I exaggerate, but it's pretty darn close to that once you get it going. So any questions sort of on that, like just to start out with, right? Is there any questions you want me to address? I can jump into what a season looks like, or whatever you want. Just jump in. Okay. So I will give you, maybe I'll start by giving you a couple of tips that I think were sort of, from a FLL perspective, were life-changing for me. The first one was volunteer to judge at a qualifier. I don't know what CUSD has from a volunteering perspective, from a compensation perspective. I don't know. I don't know if this is something like the stipend that's coming in from Microsoft could be considered as a way to compensate you for taking a Saturday and going to judge. I will tell you this. There is absolutely no better training than doing that. So what you do is you volunteer at an event where your team is not competing. I can give you details on how to do that. You volunteer to judge. And the reason I want you to judge is because you will be in the judge deliberation room with all the other judges, including the head judge. You can, even if you choose carefully, end up at an event where you'll have the head judge from the state tournament. She is the head judge for some of the qualifiers. So you will be in the room with several teams that will rotate through during the day, 4 to 6 teams usually. So you'll see how the teams enter the room and how they present and how the adults who are with the children behave, what they say. You'll see just a whole range of different ways that teams, rookie teams all the way to experienced teams, how they present the information. So you'll learn a lot from that. You'll be on the receiving end of that, and you'll see how, as you would for anything in the corporate world, right? When you have a great idea and you go present it, you think about, how will I present this to, could be peers, it could be, could be a venture capitalist or whatever it is. How can I present my content in a way that is most impactful? And that, in and of itself, is a life lesson for these students, right? I would say to my kids, so you're just going to show up? You're just going to look at each other and go, okay, who's going to say what? And no, you need to think about how you're going to talk about your innovation project and how you're going to talk about your robot and how you're going to respond to the questions from the judges. So all of that, I always think of it this way, is a life lesson for when they become college students and they become members of society, right, with salaries, paying taxes. It is all this experience that you will bestow upon them, these incredible life skills. And they can present it any way they want. But you, as a judge who's volunteering, you will see different ways that students do it. You will learn from more experienced judges next to you who are asking questions to the kids, the kinds of questions that are being asked. At the end of the day, you will then be in a room with all the other judges filling out the rubrics and interacting with the judge advisor. And you will be choosing, together with all the other judges, who gets trophies. And you'll see what the trophies are based on. And what happens is you end at the end of the 6-ish, 7-ish hours that you spend there. And you will know this program inside out. Inside out. You will be able, it will make you just a orders of magnitude of a better coach. So if you can swing that either before you go to a qualifier with your own team or after, it doesn't matter. There's many events. It's December 7th, 14th, and 21st are the main days that we have judging. And if your team does not qualify for state, then another option that you have is come judge at state. You'll see the best of the best on January 18th. So those are your options. Any questions about that?
Quick question. How do we get permission to be judges? What do we have to do?
So you will, hang on. What I'm going to do is, let me get myself to my dashboard and I'll show you. Where did my dashboard go? I usually spend all my days in there. All right, present. And I want to do, How do I? Oh, I see. Window. Right there. Share. Okay, I'm a Zoom girl. Let's see if this works. Okay. Dashboard. Okay, so you've been to this, right? Firstinspires.org. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to go to my dashboard. You'll see many, many teams because of I get added to teams to help them fix problems. Okay, so you have probably been in this My Teams over here on the left.
Yes.
Another tab here, Parent Guardian. This is what your parents are going to see when you invite their children to join a team. So look at mine. I have a 21-year-old, I have a 25-year-old, and I have a 20-year-old. So mine have all aged out, and I could disassociate, but I refuse to. They're still my babies. Okay, the next one is volunteer registration. So this is where we're going to address your question here, Erin. So you go to volunteer registration, you click, and I have instructions on this. I can just send an email over to you so that I have screenshots of everything. So you're going to want to do an FLL challenge. So you're going to turn that red. You want Arizona. If you don't put any dates, it'll give you all the dates, and you say apply filter. And these are all the events that we have currently for challenge in the state of Arizona. We have scrimmages. Scrimmages are just fun. Students show up, they run their robot. There's no judging. It's just fun. So don't worry about that. But then you could say, I want to go, let's see here, Flagstaff, Yuma. Let's say you wanted to do this one. This one's on December 7th, and it is at Chandler High School, let's say. You can look at the details now. I've been assigned as a volunteer coordinator for all the events, but it'll show up like this. You say it's a one-day event. So you just say, I'll be there on December 7th, and you click on judge. And just say that, say next. These are all the teams I'm on right now. So you just enter your team number that you are associated with. This is just to make sure that we don't put, sometimes we have people who will be judging at an event where their own team that they're associated with is there. We just make sure you're not judging your own team. That's all we do there. And then you just say complete, which I won't do because I don't want to send a judging request. But anyway, that's how you do it. It's that simple. The people who are organizing the event will get your an automatic email that says such and such a person has applied, and then they'll assign you, and that's it. It's that simple.
And we shouldn't be super concerned about having never been a judge before and never having first like a league experience.
That is exactly the point of qualifiers. Everyone is training, including judges, including referees. So what we'll do is one of the things that we can do when we go and volunteer, I can even show you how we do it. So we have you don't have access to this. This is our volunteer management system. So if we look at an event and I see, let's say, we'll look at a judge advisor because I already know who's there, right? So it's going to be Nancy. Nancy's our head judge for the state. We can go down and look at something called assignment history, like this down here. And these are all the things that Nancy's done over the years. So what'll happen with you is there won't be much in this section, right? So she'll know that. You can also put a note in there when you register that says, I'm new. Put me with, Put me with somebody who's experienced, which she's extremely good at doing. So you'll end up in a room with someone who's experienced, and then you will learn together with them, and they will be able to help you with the judging session. Do you know about the rubrics? Have you gotten familiar with those? So let me go back to this then. Let me go back to this just to make sure you know where you're going. So I'll go back to my, actually right here. Let me see if it makes me log on again. Let's go a little bigger. That feels small. So actually, let's start at the beginning. Program. So I'm on firstinspires.org. If you start just from the beginning, programs, FLL, and go to the resource library. It's a resource library for all of the different programs. Your FLL challenge, okay? And you want what's going on for the challenge, updates, and resources over here. You can also do a search here if you want to. But if you go here, you will find under judging, yes, thank you, rubrics is, I mean, there's a ton of information here, ton. But one of the things are the rubrics. The rubrics have changed this year. They're a little bit different, still 3 pieces of paper, but they're a little bit different. As a coach, this is what you're coaching towards, right? I always, because I'm Canadian, I always compare to hockey, right? If you're going to coach hockey, you got to understand what the rules are, right? How many players are on the ice, and you can't cross that blue line ahead of the puck and all that stuff, right? This is sort of what is giving you that information. So you have an innovation project page, you have a robot design page, and then we have something that we're now this year calling judging session feedback, where we're going to give you some words about what we're seeing. But for example, if you look at robot design, right, one of the things that judges are going to want to know is something called identify. The team determined which missions to attempt. They explored building and coding resources and sought guidance if needed, right? Nothing here says that you did 2 missions versus 15 missions. It's not the point. The point is, when you looked at the table and at all the missions, which ones did you decide to do? Why? What was your rationale behind it, right? Did you follow through with that plan? And how did you adapt, right? So sort of think of the engineering design process a little bit, right? So as a judge, I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, I'm going to listen to your spiel for 5 minutes, but then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, if I'm not clear, I'm going to say, tell me which missions you decided to do. We did 1, 5, 7. Why? Well, we're a rookie team. We knew we couldn't do all 15. So here's what we did. We went through the list and we did an analysis and we said, we think this is easy, this is medium, this is hard. We rated all of that. We wanted to do a little bit of line following, or whatever your reason is, I don't care. But you got to be able to tell me what it is, right? So, and then you can say, and then we did the 3 missions and we still had 30 seconds left. So we said, we're doing another mission. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what, and so as a judge, I'm going to say, aha, that team showed up and they had maybe it's a spreadsheet. They had all the missions listed. They said, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Here's why. They knew the total points they could get. And so even if you don't do all 15 missions, you can rate extremely high on this. And then you just go down the line and you'll see what it is that we're looking for you to do. And you'll see that it's very much more about the process than about the results. And the reason we do it this way, it used to be about the results. The reason we do it this way is we try to find ways to equalize resources, right? A team like yours that's starting out, new coach, new program, can't possibly deliver what, the famous teams from Brazil will do when they've had 20 years under their belt. But at the end of the day, it sort of doesn't matter, because what we just want you to tell us, whatever it is that you accomplished, how'd you get there? That's why. So as a coach, one of the things that really sort of woke me up was these rubrics, knowing what's in these rubrics, knowing what the judges are looking for. And it's not so much because, you know, you want to win or anything like that. It's because it guides your coaching in making sure that the students understand to keep notes and to write down what they're doing and to understand why they're doing what they're doing. In here, flowchart. Okay. What does a judging session look like? This is what it looks like. So you have 30 minutes with us. So you're going to walk in and you have 2 minutes at the beginning. Introductory conversation takes place as the team sets up any materials they have brought. So when you set foot through that door, the clock starts ticking. 2 minutes starts ticking. So I always say, don't waste that 2 minutes. For example, you could go in and have one student stand in front of the judges, and that student has maybe a little speech. Hi, I'll give you our speech. Hi, we're Team 207, the Brickmasters from Anchorage, Alaska. My name's Alexa, and I'm 12 years old. This is my first year doing FLL. Behind me setting up are my teammates. And then out of the back, you'd hear, I'm Mitchell. But they're setting up. They're utilizing the 2 minutes, right, to set up their stuff and not waste time. And when the 2 minutes is over, everything is set up and you've introduced yourself and the judges already have a sense of who you are. Does that make sense? When that 2 minutes is over, we're going to put 5 minutes on the clock and you have 5 minutes to talk about your innovation project, uninterrupted. The kids will do skits. They'll do songs. They'll do corporate presentations with slides. They'll have flip charts. They'll have demos. Doesn't matter, right? But what you're trying to accomplish during that 5 minutes is address as many of these questions as possible. And I will tell you, I've judged at Worlds, I don't know, 10 years. Keep it simple, man. Start and identify your problem right off the bat in your presentation. Then go to the design. Then go to the create. Because when I'm a judge, I can see what you're doing. Aha, you just told me your problem. Super clear. You just told me how you designed it. Super clear, right? And I can see what they're doing rather than jumping around. I don't care if they do a skit or a song or whatever, I don't care, but speak slowly, clearly, and if you follow this, you are golden. You're going to do really well. At the end of that 5 minutes, and they do need to rehearse and know their stuff so they don't go over 5 minutes, then we have 5 minutes to ask questions. So if there's anything we're unclear on, we'll ask questions, right? So the part of the process is in the project, for example, is identifying your problem. And often the kids will say, well, we voted. Okay. If you voted, what were the 5 ideas that you had? Write those down so the judges will know about it. And then we say, okay, you voted. So who had a different idea for a project and it didn't go your way? So, I'll get some of this, and I'll go, how did that make you feel? Well, I was so sorry it didn't go my way, but that's when I'm sort of digging in. I'm trying to see if they're understanding that this is life. Things don't go your way sometimes. And even though it didn't go your way, right, you sort of jumped in and you went in and said, yeah, I'm all in. Let's figure out how to solve this problem. Okay, right? So then you design and create project plans. I can teach you guys the specifics of this if you want on how we did these kinds of things. And then we'll ask some questions about that, and we'll just go down the line. Anything that we're unclear on, we'll just ask questions so that we can fill out our rubric. Then they have 5 minutes to talk about their robot. There's no table or anything like that inside of the judging room. So they need to bring their robot, and they need to bring all their attachments and anything that they have to show the story of their robot. Pictures are fantastic, right? And you can have pictures in a binder, you can have pictures on a board. I had a team that showed up with a roll of photos, and in the presentation they went whoosh, and this whole roll of pictures came out. It was so funny. It was at Worlds, and they were like, this is the evolution of our robot. Like, it was just really creative little idea that they had. But it's so that you can show that we started here and we landed here. And again, it's not about who's got the best, more complex, complicated robot. What we're looking for is progress. We're looking for evolution and learning. How did you problem solve, right? Why? Here's an attachment that we had, and we got rid of this because it didn't work. Here's what happened when we use this, right? And then they tell us why it didn't work. And they say, then they'll put that aside and they'll pull out and they say, we ended up with this attachment instead, because when we use this attachment, well, we were able to complete the missions, 8 times out of 10 rather than 2 times out of 10. Do you know what I mean? So they're starting they're internalizing that things evolve, that things aren't perfect, that you always improve, and that's okay. So they talk about their robot for 5 minutes, again, uninterrupted. And you don't have to use the whole 5 minutes. That's up to you, but you can't have more than 5 minutes. We won't be too rude, but eventually we're going to tell them to stop talking if they go past 5 minutes. And then we will ask them questions. Who built? Who programmed? How did you decide who did what? What was the hardest thing on this table for you? How did you resolve that? How did you resolve disagreements if somebody thought you should program it this way or this way, right? Again, we're looking at lessons learned and internalizing some of these life lessons. So now we're at 22 minutes, and then up to 8 minutes is feedback, where it's just an open conversation with judges. So we'll typically ask questions like, what was the best part about this season? What was the hardest part about this season? What was something you learned that you're going to use outside of FLL? What was, so we might ask them about something called gracious professionalism in the first core values. What's gracious professionalism to you? So we may ask them about that. So if you don't know about core values, that's something else we can look at. Do they have it on here now? I think they have it. If we look at the team meeting guide, which you should, the team meeting guide is to help the coaches. Here we go. Here are the core values: teamwork, inclusion, impact, fun, discovery, and innovation. So we may ask them, how did you include everyone on your team? Right? How did you impact your world? What did you do that you felt through first that you felt had an impact? It could be anything. How did you have fun? That's one of my favorite questions, because we just get just the loveliest answers from the kids about some of the things that they did. So these are the core values, and it must talk in here somewhere about gracious professionalism right here, right? And so gracious professionalism is a million different ways to describe it. But the general idea is that we're all in this together. You bring your best, I'll bring my best, and let's go have fun. Let's go have a competition, right? And so we dropped our robot one year at state, and the pieces went everywhere, and the whole place stopped. And somebody just said, stop walking! Grab all the, and these are people from different teams. Everybody grabbed the Lego pieces off the floor, put it on the table, and my daughter started rebuilding, and people made like a wall behind her and said, leave her alone, she needs to think, right? So that traffic wouldn't bump into her and all of that. There's stories about the high school teams where they'll go on the announcement and say, hey, does anybody have a blah, 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 blah piece because ours broke and our robot stopped working. And you'll see teams coming out of the woodworks to help the competition, so to speak. It's this idea of gracious professionalism. So one of the awards that's new this year is called the Peer Mentor Award, where teams can nominate another team at that event, a team that helped them. So the judges don't decide. It's team to team. That's why it's called the peer award. So this is called the Team Meeting Guide, and it is, oh, here it is, right here. So let me put it here. So it's in the resource library right there, Nicole, and then it is the second link down. And that will, the team meeting guide will sort of walk you through the steps of the season, what you need, some tips on management, engineering notebook, which is the third one down. The engineering notebook, you should have gotten copies of that in the packets that you received. But if you didn't, because they did have some mix-ups, they had challenges with shipping this year. You can just come on here and you can print your own copy. This is the engineering notebook. You can have, each of your students can have one of these, and you can have a paper one that you print. And this explains the season or whatever. And then they just write some of their thoughts in here. And then you can bring that to your judging session. And the kids can present that to the judges. You can use this. This is great, I think, the first year. As the teams evolve, they will tend to generate a binder and just have their own way of documenting what they're doing. That's just an evolution thing, but this is wonderful. When we see this coming in, I will typically take that and open it up and say, tell me about, I'll just point to something and say, tell me about that. Okay. Okay. Let me go through this. Okay. Do they train you for judging? Yes, 100%. There's, as a matter of fact, I have 2 sessions that are already on the schedule for training judges. They are first session is December 5th at 6 p.m. December. And December 12th at also 6 p.m. This is with, I'll put it in here, Nancy Okabe, who's head judge for Arizona. And they are recorded in case you can't attend, but it's great if you can attend because then you can ask her questions, but she'll walk you through everything. Okay, I think I answered that question. You have the paper copies for the engineering notebooks. Okay, directions for building a robot. You can build any robot you want. Anything goes. Anything you want. You want somewhere to start? All right, let me give you some places to start. I sent out an email on this very topic yesterday. It's too open. So let me give you some ideas. I think in the beginning, it's really good to give the kids something to start with. Who did I send this to yesterday? Oh gosh, it was query registry. It was the basic robot building right here. Okay, so let's look at a few of these. So I have a Teams team. where I've put some of these. Are you guys have access to that?
I'm not sure what that is.
Okay, so if I click on that, let me see here. Don't allow Microsoft Teams. If I put this here, do you guys see that? Or no, I don't know if I did the whole screen. Let me go back here. Let me go back here. And if I go here, what are you guys seeing? Okay, you're just seeing that. Okay, so let me do stop. Let me put this here. And then I will share window.
Is it the same location where we have the build instructions for the models?
No.
That's separate?
No. So this is my own Microsoft Teams team that I created for Arizona FLL. And in this team, I don't know, I'm up to maybe 30, 40 people in here. Yeah. I have documents under FLL Challenge, and I can send you the link for this, but you need to be part of this team to see this. And then I have robot build instructions that I posted yesterday, including some from Lego Education itself has some build instructions that you could use. And this is, let's go back. Let's look at Lego Spike Prime. Scorpion, is it? Let's see what this one looks like. Oh, this was a Scorpion. So this is just instruction. So if you page through it, it'll tell you how to build that robot. I don't know that it's that useful in FLL, but it could be useful. The one I like, so TacoBot is pretty good. TacoBot is used by Carnegie Mellon to do they have a whole curriculum that's built on this robot that you can access online for free. So that's another robot that you can use. I will tell you, I'll tell you about Lego Education. You can just go on Lego Education and they have this driving base that when you get to the bottom, this is the base, and this is book, they call this book 1 of 5. So then you go to book 2, and I think you keep going because there's still so many steps. You just keep going. But this is something you can hand to the kids, right? There's 3, and there's 3, and then you get a pretty good robot by the end of it. I'll show you another one that I think is really good. Okay, let me go to 5. I want to see if we can get to the final robot and see what you think. There's the final robot. Fabulous robot. So you see how there's book 1 will get you this far, book 2 will get you this far, book 3 will get you this far, book 4 will get you there, and book 5 will get you to the full, and they even tell you how to program your ports, but you end up with this robot. And then they have attachments that you can put, which I think is really cool. This might be it here, I don't know. All of that's available on First or, on Lego Education, or I can give you these links and you can access it here. To access this, I will add you to my Teams team, and then you can go access it whenever you want to. The other way we can do this, and then I think I have to stop presenting. Let's go back to my email. Let's go back to I want to show you what this guy is doing. I think what he's doing is really cool.
Nicole, do you just want us to address the chat question? Sorry, Elaine, I know you're looking at 3 different things. Nicole threw a couple of questions in the chat.
What was the name of that robot that you just showed? That's what you're asking.
They call it Advanced Driving Base VI PDF. And if you want, hang on, I'll get you the link. Lego Education. Let me just get you the link. Where did I find that? I should have put the link in. Hang on. Basic robot build. I'll find you the link. Give me a, it might be here. Oh, I should have put that down. I'll find you the link in a minute. Look at this guy. Tell me, okay, I have to let this add through. Can you see that? Hang on, let me go back here and see what you're seeing. You can't see that, okay. I like what this guy's doing, especially for a new team. Window, back, share. Okay, I gotta let this run. An election go out. This guy has a series of little YouTube videos, and this is a 34-minute video, but it walks you through building this robot step by step. It's a fabulous little robot. Which you have. I just put the video in. No sound. So I have to go to settings. Settings. And I think there's something you toggle somewhere that says, let the sound go through. And I can't see it. Account notification, playback. Preview. Anybody know how to do that for the sound to come through? I put the link. Okay, I put the link in the chat. I would go to his channel because not only does he have the robot, but he's got attachments also. And so you could hand this video and the stuff that you have, and you could hand this over to your kids and say, build this robot. That's what we're using. Piece of cake. I like him a lot. The other one I like, and let me see if this works, is, so there's 2 famous brothers. I think they're both at MIT now. Who, oh, good, you can see it. Okay, they've just been amazing in designing robots. They do all kinds of different things. But anyway, Spike Prime versus Robot Inventor. So this is their little robot here. And they do Spike Prime modular here. This is this little robot. And here's your instructions. Super simple. They just walk you through the whole thing. Boom, boom, boom. The pieces you need, which you have.
What is that?
This one is called, let me put their website is primelessons.org. And I'll put this one here. Whoops. Yep. They have something called Robot Inventor, but I think that's a different robot base. Here's another one. So a little bit wider, right? So the kids will have to decide. It's harder to manipulate a robot that's a little bit wider. And then you see over here these we call them dog gears that are up here. What you can do is snap in attachments in there. It's a little bit more advanced, but they explain, here they are, Arvind and Sanjay Sishan. I judged with their dad one year. And they're just these great, great kids and they explain to you how all of this works. Let's see do they have, robot attachment. Do they have the attachment? I just want to see if okay, there's your robot. They give you the attachment. No way. Does that snap in? Oh, it just snaps in. What a fabulous little robot. Great starting point, you guys. Like, I just think this is so good. Now, what I want to see them do, though, is show you how to hook into these gears. Do they have attachments? Robot attachment. Here's another one. Do you see how they're square or rectangular all the time? 4 points of contact on the table, you'll have a much more stable robot. Okay, those are a couple of starting points. So let me do this. Let me take this email because this was just a coach who asked me for stuff. So can I forward this to you, Brian, and you can send it to everyone if you're not on here? Absolutely.
And before I forget, Nicole also has the question about coding in there. I think the blueprints this is awesome to me. It looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So we also have coding questions.
Coding questions. Okay. And so I spent about 15 minutes yesterday because I'm a 3rd generation robot person. This is a 4th generation. I'm not as familiar with Prime, with Spike Prime, but I wanted you to know that you can just search or have the kids search because it's their job to do it, right? You can give these options. You can give them these options and they can decide which one to build. I'm a big, big, big fan of this. A frame around your robot. So much sturdier, so much more robust. And what you will find, one of the tricks is you have a rectangular table, your robot is up and running. You need your robot to go perpendicular to the wall, back into the wall. The robot will straighten itself out because that back wall to the robot, right, what's over here, will even out with the wall, and then you can take off and you'll be taken off exactly 90 degrees from the wall. Great trick. This is why you can do it with this robot here. You cannot do that with this because you don't really have a good straight edge in the back, but you can do it from here. Coding. So coding, let's see if I can do this. Lego education classroom. Let's see here. The coding app, is this what we need? It's called Classroom, the software, and I'm trying to see. So here's what I would do. Here we go. Download software. There we go. And you guys are a Spike Prime. This is what I'm looking for. This link, Control C. I'm going to put that in the chat. Control V. Okay. So you can say what you are, right? If you're Windows, Mac, iPad, Android, Chrome, on Windows. and then you can download the software here. When you go in, it'll give you the option. I might have it actually here. It'll give you the option to do block programming or Python. You will want to do block programming at first, and you can evolve to Python if you want to. And then this is where I want to offer to you guys to bring in Daniel, who has gone to Worlds now a couple of times. He's taking a year off from competitively doing FLL, but he asked me for a mat, and he's building a robot on his own. And he's created some slides and a bit of a presentation and his own tips and tricks. And he lives in your neck of the woods and would like to teach you guys, have like a true programming session. Here's the thing, you'll get that guy. I'm telling you, you don't know who it is yet, but you will get that guy. And so what we could do, I wrote to him yesterday and said, can I offer your services? And he said, yep, absolutely. And so there's lots of different ways that you can get started on just getting moving. When you get into this app, there's little built-in lessons in the software just to get the robot moving, so that at least the kids can get moving. In the first year, the kids are going to go straight turn, straight turn, straight turn, arm goes up, arm goes down. That's it. As they get better, right, they'll start using sensors and detecting things on the table. But Daniel can definitely get you guys going. So how would you like to do that? We can do, I don't know if in person is practical, but I can certainly offer it, right? And I could come and join you guys, and then his mom and dad or his dad would probably come with him to help. Email address, we can do a session like this.
Yeah, can I ask real quick for the coaches that are here, would you prefer to do a virtual session like this, or would you prefer to meet at the IRC one day after school if we booked a room so you could, physically interact with the robots and with Daniel? Or would you like to think about it and we can send an email out and coordinate?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just a bit overwhelmed at this point.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I want you, I want to give you information, but I want you to just sort of say, okay, let's take a step. I will tell you this, Aaron. The first year I did it, we did not even touch the innovation project.
Okay.
Zero. We just said it is too much. We can't do it. Put that aside. All it means is you can't win a project trophy. Obviously, right?
Right.
It's okay. So I would say in the beginning, right? Start with sort of the simple things, right? Is your table built? Have you got your map rolled out? Have you got your mission pieces built? Okay. Do you know where to find that?
Yeah, we're in the middle of building all the mission pieces. We have the mat. We don't have a table yet because our mission pieces aren't done, so we're not too concerned about that. We haven't even opened the robot box yet.
Okay. And you could, how many kids are on your team?
I have 5 girls and 5 boys.
Excellent. So do this. Work in parallel.
Yeah, we're building like crazy every day.
But have some of them build the mission models, but take 2 or 3 kids and say, you're opening up the Spike Prime box.
Okay.
Open that up, empty out all the little bags, organize everything. There's little stickers and things like that. Organize it nice and clean. Combine the expansion kit with so everything fits in the yellow box.
Okay. Right?
Have them do that. And then in the meantime, right, I think if it was me and I was starting out, I would go with the dude's YouTube video here. I kind of like his little, I
Okay.
kind of like his little compact little robot. And it's a video, so he's walking you through it, so you can just go stop, pause, go, pause, go, pause, go, and just build
Okay.
that robot. And I can confirm for sure, and I will click on the link just to in what I just sent you. The basic robot build. This I say. Let me just go to this video. I know you guys can't hear it, but
Was that the title Old Robot? Was that part of his YouTube video?
that I say. Now we're, yes, that's what I want. Okay. Stop sharing. Share this guy. Okay. So this guy, I know you can't hear the sound, but the first video, and it's in the email I just sent you. So the first email I just sent you is he's building this robot. But this video right here is modular quick attachment starters. Okay, so this is when you're going to do attachments so that when your robot goes out, and sometimes you want it to lift, sometimes you want it to sweep, sometimes you want it to push something over, right? Different attachments will do this. What I think he does a good job of doing is explaining to you how you can quickly snap on attachments and snap them off. I think he does a great job. You have the links to these two videos in the email I just sent you. Great place to start. Great place to start. As time goes on, this type of robot will evolve, but I think this will give the kids a really, really quick win, and they'll be able to quickly attack some of the missions on the table. Is that helpful?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, you got a team to help you with FRC. Oh, that's great. I'm just going to consider scholarly. Yes, that means they do have part. Yep. Mentoring is so important. Like, it really helps. We have teams that turns. Would you have teams take turns building robot, working on mission coding, innovation project, etc.? Okay. This is the $1 million question. I had, and I'm happy to do a session with you guys on this. We used a project management tool called RACI. You guys ever heard of this? Responsible, accountable, consulted, informed. It's a professional level project management tool to assign roles to people. And when the kids were fighting all the time on who was doing what, we ended up using this tool, and the skies opened up and the angels started singing, because they figured out what the tasks were that needed to be done. And then they had a matrix of the team members. And I have a whole session I can come and do for you guys on this. As a matter of fact, when I was back in Alaska, it became a professional development course where teachers were able to get credit for it. I don't know if this could happen here, but because it was project management training that we just applied to FLL, but you could apply it to anything. Anyway, but the kids had roles, and what happens is that they need to be self-governing, and to be self-governing, you need to have one person be the accountable for each role, so that you have someone who will make the final decision who's not you. Because if it's you, it's going to be seen as you're picking your favorite. But if it's them, they have to self-govern and decide what it is that they're going to accomplish. And so who does what, you want to get to a point where they get to decide. So if you have the list of the tasks, and you can work on this list as the season goes on, if you have the list of the tasks. So for example, we need branding. We're a brand new team. What's our team name? What's our team colors? What's our team logo? Do we want t-shirts? Do we want You know, some of them show up in lab coats, some of them are in suspenders. You know, what's our look going to be? Somebody needs to have a look at that, right? Who's going to look up, who's going to do the research on the innovation project? Who's going to write the presentation? Who's going to make the presentation material? It's not just the robot, but then it is who's going to build the robot? Who's going to program the robot? Who's going to decide which missions we're going to do? You see how you have all these lists of things that need to be done? Give roles to each of the student, and they need to understand you can't have 10 people working on the robot at the same time. So you can say, we need to pick somebody who's going to figure out what the basic robot's going to be. So if it's this robot that we have on the screen right now, put 2 or 3 people in charge of that. You're going to go build that. You're going to go build mission models. You're going to go learn some programming, let's say, so they can look up videos on YouTube or wherever to learn how to program. But you have to give them small groups, have different tasks, because otherwise you end up with too many students. I mean, it's like a classroom, right? You end up with the students with nothing to do, and they have to figure out how to share a limited resource, being the robot. Does that help? I can give you more I can walk you through RACI. Like, it takes me about an hour to walk you through the RACI. I have an old terrible video of me and my daughter teaching it back when we were in Alaska, and I'm happy to give that to you. It's not great. I much prefer to do it in person. But once you know that, you put the onus back on them to self-manage. At the end, I would walk in with snacks, and that was it. Somebody was at the whiteboard writing down the agenda. And the kids walk in and they say, okay, what do we need to do today? You can use their engineering notebook, they can use the team meeting guide, and they list the list. Who's going to work on this? Who's going to work on that? And they get to understand that not everybody can build and nobody works on the project, because we're not going to do well with that.
Elaine, we are at about 4:20, so about 5 minutes over. So we are about 5 minutes over the time.
Okay,
I just
why
want to make
can't I
sure.
hear you? Oh, here we are. Now I can hear you. Okay.
Is that okay? So we're just about 5 minutes over time. I think everyone's absorbing a ton, but I also want to make sure we don't overwhelm or we don't keep anyone from a family obligation or anything else this afternoon. Is everyone comfortable with putting a pause on today, kind of gather in and I'll sum up some notes and then send out some more communications, and maybe we can either schedule another time or we can do individual meetings as needed?
If you can get me an hour when we could get Daniel on a Zoom like this, and we could say, if you want, we can agree on this robot, and I can go to Daniel and say, build this thing.
That would be great.
And all of you, your job's going to be at the next meeting, you're going to show up with this robot. Right? We're all going to have the same robot. We're all going to have the sensors plugged into the same ports, so that when we say move port A, everybody has the same wheel that's turning, right?
Sound good?
Listen, I'll tell you something else. The day that that I started getting better also was the day I gave myself permission to play with the robot. They've taken away the rule that says the kids do the work, because it was very limiting for the coaches. You have to know where the line is, right? You can't build their robot and they do nothing, but you can play with the robot to teach yourself so that you learn along with the kids. So we could start with that, right? And just say, you don't have to build this. You can just hand this over to the kid, this video. But if we like it, we can just hand it over. I'll hand it over to Daniel and say, build this. Everybody shows up next time with the robot and we'll do a little programming.
When, as coaches, how much time do you think you would need to get the robot built? Can I touch base with you maybe a week from today and get a little more of a barometer on where we're at or how much more time we need?
Yeah, that's
the video is 35 minutes. The video stood for, so once you have all your kit, you know, organized decently, it should not take much more than an hour. Because of course you'll have to stop, find the piece, put it on, go again, stop, find the piece, get, you know. But really you can give it to the kids and have the kids build it for you. But yeah, that could be one way for us to go.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. This is a lot, but it's really helpful. Thank you so much.
I will tell you this, keep your eye on the prize that this is, as a mother, as an engineer, as a coach who's been doing this for 17 years, I've never found anything like this to impart upon the children such a broad range of life lessons. Not just technical, not just programming, but truly about how you internalize these life lessons. And now I meet students who tell me, I got an interview or I got a job because on my resume it said that I did first. And the other, I put it in an email to someone else today. Coaches in this program are everything. Everything. We can pay for Legos till we're blue in the face. It's worthless without the coaches. So thank you. So Brian, I will leave it with you. Let me know what you want and when you want it, and we will meet as often as you want.
Okay, sounds wonderful. And Tiffany, I saw your kids are building the robots already, but we will figure something out to make sure that you're not left behind. You're not getting the support we need.
You know where you're good on the building instructions, right? You know where to find that. You're good on the building instructions. You got a few links today. All right, man.
Thank you.
And really,
thank you all very much.
Don't worry about the project if it's too much.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a wonderful afternoon. We'll be in touch, everybody. Thanks, Elaine.
Thank you.